Good evening and welcome back to another episode of The Longing, where today we are going to be continuing to read the Iliad by Homer. So, let's get going. Then thus to Phoebus in the realms above spoke from his throne the cloud-compelling Jove. Descend, my Phoebus, on the Phrygian plain, and from the fight convey Sarpedon slain. Then bathe his body in the crystal flood, with dust dishonoured and deformed with blood. O'er all his limbs ambrosial odours shed, and with celestial robes adorn the dead. Those rites discharged, his sacred course bequeath to the soft arms of silent sleep and death. They to his friends the immortal charge shall bear, his friends a tomb and pyramids shall rear. What honour mortals after death receive, those unavailing honours we may give. Sleep and death conveying the body of Sarpedon to Lycia. Apollo bows, and from Mount Ida's height, swift to the field precipitates his flight. Thence from the war the breathless hero bore, veiled in a cloud, to silver Simois' shore. There bathed his honourable wounds, and dressed his manly members in the immortal vest, and with perfumes of sweet ambrosial dews restores his freshness, and his form renews. Then sleep and death, two twins of winged race, of matchless swiftness, but of silent pace, received Sarpedon at the god's command, and in a moment reached the Lycian land. The course amidst his weeping friends they laid, where endless honours wait the sacred shade. Meanwhile Patroclus pours along the plains, with foaming coursers and with loosened reins. Fierce on the Trojan and the Lycian crew, blind to fate, thy headlong fury flew. Against what fate and powerful Jove ordain, vain was thy friend's command, thy courage vain. For he, the god, whose counsels uncontrolled dismay the mighty and confound the bold, the god who gives, resumes, and orders all, he urged thee on, and urged thee on to fall. Who first, brave hero, by that arm was slain, who last beneath thy vengeance pressed the plain, when heaven itself thy fatal fury led, and called to fill the number of the dead? Addressed us first, Autonous then succeeds, Echeclus follows, next young Megas bleeds. Epistor Melanippus bite the ground, the slaughter Ilassus and Mullius crowned. Then sunk Pylates to eternal night, the rest dispersing trust their fates to flight. Now Troy had stooped beneath his matchless power, but flaming Phoebus kept the sacred tower. Thrice at his battlements Patroclus struck, 246. His blazing Aegis thrice Apollo shook. He tried the fourth, when bursting from the cloud, a more than mortal voice was heard aloud. Patroclus, cease this heaven-defended wall, defies thy lance, not fated yet to fall. Thy friend, thy greater far, it shall withstand. Troy shall not stoop, even to Achilles' hand. So spoke the god who darts celestial fires. The Greek obeys him, and with awe retires, while Hector, checking at the Scaean gates, his panting coursers in his breast debates, or in the field his forces to employ, or draw the troops within the walls of Troy. Thus while he thought, beside him Phoebus stood, in Asius' shape, who reigned by Sangar's flood. Thy brother Hecuba from Dymas sprung, a valiant warrior, haughty, bold, and young. Thus he accosts him, what a shameful sight! God is it Hector that forbids the fight. Were thine my vigour this successful spear, should soon convince thee of so false a fear. Turn thee, turn thee to the field of fame, and in Patroclus' blood efface thy shame. Perhaps Apollo shall thy arms succeed, and heaven ordains him by thy lance to bleed. So spoke the inspiring god, then took his flight, and plunged amidst the tumult of the fight. He bids Cebrion drive the rapid car, the lash resounds, the coursers rush to war. The god the Grecians' sinking souls depressed, and poured swift spirits through each Trojan breast. Patroclus lights, impatient for the fight. A spear his left, a stone employs his right. With all his nerves he drives it at the foe, pointed above and rough and gross below. The falling ruin crushed Cebrion's head, the lawless offspring of King Priam's bed. His front, brows, eyes, one undistinguished wound, the bursting balls drop sightless to the ground. The charioteer, while yet he held the rein, struck from the car, falls headlong on the plain. To the dark shades the soul unwilling glides, while the proud victor thus his fall derides. Good heaven, what active feats yon artist shows! What skilful divers are our Phrygian foes! Mark with what ease they sink into the sand, pity that all their practice is by land. Then rushing sudden on his prostrate prize, to spoil the carcass fears Patroclus flies. Swift as a lion, terrible and bold, that sweeps the field, depopulates the fold. Pierced through the dauntless heart, then tumbles slain, and from his fatal courage finds his bane. At once bold Hector, leaping from his car, defends the body and provokes the war. Thus for some slaughtered hind with equal rage, two lordly rulers of the wood engage. Stung with fierce hunger each the prey invades, and echoing roars rebellow through the shades. Stern Hector fastens on the warrior's head, and by the foot Patroclus drags the dead. While all around confusion, rage, and fright mix the contending hosts in mortal fight. So pent by hills the wild winds roar aloud, in the deep bosom of some gloomy wood. Leaves, arms, and trees aloft in air are blown, the broad oaks crackle, and the sylvans groan. This way and that the rattling thicket bends, and the whole forest in one crash descends. Not with less noise, with less tumultuous rage, in dreadful shock the mingled hosts engage. Darts showered on darts now round the carcass ring. Excuse me. Now flights of arrows bounding from the string. Stones follow stones, some clatter on the fields, some hard and heavy shake the sounding shields. But where the rising whirlwind clouds the plains, sunk in soft dust the mighty chief remains, and stretched in death forgets the guiding reins. Now flaming from the zenith Sol had driven his fervid orb through half the vault of heaven, while on each host with equal tempests fell, the showering darts and numbers sank to hell. But when his evening wheels o'erhung the main, glad conquest rested on the Grecian train. Then from amidst the tumult and alarms, they draw the conquered corse and radiant arms. Then rash Patroclus with new fury glows, and breathing slaughter pours amidst the foes. Thrice on the press, like Mars himself he flew, and thrice 3 heroes at each onset slew. There ends thy glory, there the fates untwine, the last black remnant of so bright a line. Apollo dreadful stops thy middle way, death calls and heaven allows no longer day. And with that we come to the end of the episode. So I will say thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you all have a wonderful morning, evening, afternoon or night. I just jumped out of the chair again. I hope you have a wonderful one of it. And as always, we will be back tomorrow for more of The Longing. Goodbye.